Hello, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to Saxony on match day 32 of the Dritte Liga. One of the final three games of the weekend on this Sunday. It could well be a fun one as Dynamo Dresden take on FC Saarbrücken. Rudolf Harbig Stadion, not far from capacity, as is often the case around these parts. And those in the ground, as you can see, bouncing, ready to go in this warm Sunday afternoon in Dresden. In addition to a few long-term absences, there are a few new ones for Marcus Anfang to deal with. Kevin Ehlers, the red card suspension. Tom Berger, Tobias Kraulik, and Lucas Cueto out injured. So two changes from last weekend. Paul Will and captain Stefan Kuchka come in for Lars Bunning, and Jakob Lemmer, who dropped to the bench. As for Rüdiger Ziel, he had all players available except for long-term injuries of Patrick Schmidt, Sebastian Jakob and Richard Neudecker. However, perhaps unsurprisingly, head coach makes three changes to his 11, or to the 11 which started in the Cup on Tuesday. Turka, Naifi and Robic are out. Wafero, Sevilla and Stahler in. Coach said in the press conference, we have 10 games in 36 days, including the State Cup. So certainly we'll make changes to the starting lineup on a case-by-case basis. And a few fresh legs brought in to take on Dresden. A few changes amongst that 11 for Dresden as well. The reintroduced Paul Will drops back into central defence from his usual CDM position, with Luca Herrmann filling in there, absence of a few defenders. And the captain there, Kuchka, leading his side onto the pitch, reinstated in that starting 11 as well. Saarbrücken, far from home, having made the long 600-kilometre journey from the west of the country to the east. Dynamo, far from where they want to be in the table. Here to be in a two-horse race for the title with Jan Regensburg as he came back from the winter break, but since then they've lost no fewer than 6 games. Regensburg have also faltered at points, which has allowed it to become, it's looking now like a 4-horse race. Coming into the weekend, the top 4 were on 57, 56, 55 and 54 points. Unfortunately for Dresden, they held on to the last of those numbers. They could move up, though, after Preuß and Münster failed to take anything from their game earlier in the weekend. Regensburg have won. Still to play. So a win here could at least temporarily take them back into the top 2, and for a week at the very least back into the top 3. Preuß and Münster's run finally coming to an end. Impressive winning streak is no more. The two captains, Kuchka and Manuel Zeitz, for the visitors. Dealing with the pre-match admin with Robin Braun, the referee. 28-year-old, experienced nonetheless, despite his relatively young age in refereeing terms. Often works as a 4th official in the Bundesliga. Took charge of the Kaiserslautern Schalke second-tier game. He handed out a red card in his 4th-tier game last weekend. So they better be on best behaviour on the pitch this afternoon. Well, that's Dresden's recent form addressed. Saarbrücken, meanwhile, also had a very eventful 2024. Headline moments, of course, their cup run. They continued their giant-killing heroics. Famous victory over the mighty Bayern Munich had been followed up by another top-flight scalp in Eintracht Frankfurt late last year, and then another in March as they came from behind to beat Borussia Mönchengladbach 2-1 in the quarters. It all came to an end on Tuesday, ironically at their first non-top flight, I should say, opponent since August. Second division Kaiserslautern proving their undoing in the semis. 2-0 win for the second-tier side. Been a bad couple of weeks all round, with a decent run also coming to an end in the league, and their most recent game 2-0 again the result. A surprise one against lowly Duisburg. Saw a 6-match unbeaten streak stopped in its tracks. But with 2 or 3 games in hand on most of the table, they could move a number of places up. A tightly packed section of the standings with a few good results. But with a win here and then 2 more in their games in hand over Dynamo, they could even move within 2 points of the former league leaders who host them today. And we are now underway. Referee has blown the whistle for the first time. Dynamo Dresden take on Saarbrücken on match day 32 of the Dritte League season. Dynamo in their traditional gold and black, shooting from left to right as we watch on in this first 45. Saarbrücken in their traditional blue and black with an early long throw into the box, which has resulted, it would appear unfortunately, in a major issue. Both sets of players frantically waving on the medical team for what I think is Ahmed Arslan, who was potentially there, briefly unconscious. Glad to see him now with his head raised up, a little dazed. It's a fairly innocuous collision between Arslan and Tim Surveyor. Arslan did appear to be knocked out cold for a few seconds, but certainly now going back round, and he will be thoroughly checked over by the medics. Head injuries taken very seriously, and rightly so in football these days. Any signs of a concussion, a medical expert can ensure the player takes no further part. That doesn't look to be the case here. Arslan able to take himself over to the touchline. His manager Anfang over to check on him. It appears he is fine to continue, I'm pleased to say. So after that slight false start to the game, we are now back underway for the second time. And Dresden with the first opportunity to get a feel for the ball. Immediately lifted into the box, dangerous looking cross. Somehow missed Kuchka. There's Zimmerschied coming in behind him. Another clash of heads, potentially. You see it back here. Just behind Kuchka in the end, catching Zimmerschied out. Ended up going behind his feet as well as Kuchka's head. And then an unintentional pass back to his keeper from the Saarbrücken man. And he can start again from the back. Rudiger Ziel there. I'm sure he'll have had to lift his players after their fairy tale run in the cup came to an end during the week. To some extent, heroic as that run was, to fall at the final hurdle before the final would have been a tough pill to swallow, I'm sure. Corner just about prevented there, smartly by initially the back heel from Levelda. Nice idea, nearly went out for a corner anyway. Sliding in, his teammate ensuring it was just a throw. Hard to know how this one will go. It is almost simultaneously likely and unlikely to be a draw. Saarbrücken with the most draws in the league, 13 this campaign. Dynamo with the fewest, just 3 for them. Another long throw into the box is dealt with by the Dresden backline. This time in via Saarbrücken boot. It will be a corner now. Kamenekt, one of the most reliable players in the Dresden squad, missed very few minutes across the course of this campaign. The Sri Lanka international. Only Jakob Lewald alongside him in defence has more minutes amongst the outfield players for Dresden this season. More defending for the pair to do. It's cleared partially away, well struck. Blocked before it could get to Kevin Broll, who is deputising once again between the sticks for Dresden in the absence of normal first choice Stefan Daljacha. Cynical tug back, will be punished with a free kick in dangerous position. It's Saarbrücken who've had the better in this opening 5 minutes. And they make good on that threat here. It's going to drop. A shot from Luca Kerber, who's charged down. This is not what the home fans will have wanted to see in the opening stages of this game. On the back foot, not the response to recent results they would have been hoping for. Another long throw to deal with. It was quite a trajectory on the throw, but Kevin Broll with good handling, looking to set away a counter-attack. It's a great piece of distribution to find Robin Meissner. Showed good strength. A brush off the Saarbrücken player. He's won a free kick. Meissner with a rare start. He's been something of a super sub more often than not this campaign. Scored 5 so far this season, the 24-year-old, all of which have come as a substitute. Did start the game last weekend and has held his spot in the starting 11. Showing white, perhaps, there. First set piece for Dresden. Ahmet Arslan showing no ill effects from that collision. Will take. He's into a decent area again. Heading for Jakob Lewald. That was the Saarbrücken head of Kerber, who got to it first. Deflected out for Dresden's first corner now. Arslan able to take that as well. Takes it short. It was a corner straight from the training ground. A nice idea. Didn't come off in the end. Now we'll have to go all the way back to Kevin Broll. Start again. Tim Schreiber there, 21-year-old keeper, who's established himself as first choice since November, really. Only missed 2 games since then. Tim Paterok had started the season as number 1, if not with number on his shirt. Then certainly playing most of the games early on. Has switched since. Saarbrücken's number 6. With a hefty block on Nicholas Hauptmann, which earns him the first booking of the game. Patrick Sontheimer with his 7th yellow of the season. Already served a suspension. 2, in fact, having also picked up a red. So from a similar position to the last one, Arslan. Take 2. Into the same area. Same result as it's headed away. Only partially, only as far as Luca Herrmann. His ball in also dealt with. Park lofts it back in, picks out Zimmerschied. Looked to have got it under control, but his second touch, lifting it away from himself. Not the most convincing piece of control from Luca Herrmann there. It will be a Saarbrücken free kick now. Stop-start, first 10 minutes to this game, bit scrappy. Lots of free kicks, a few corners. In a way, end-to-end stuff. It has been lifted into both of the boxes a number of times, but more in hope than with any real precision so far. With that change here. Again, not a bad delivery, but the defence coming out on top. Caligero de Zuto looking for the killer ball. Saabrücken, the man he was aiming for on the penalty spot. The number 9, likely candidate, top scorer. 10 goals so far this campaign. It has been, if not quite route one, not far from it from both sides. Too many passes along the floor, heading towards the opposition area. Lack of intricate passing, but if it leads to a goal, the fans here won't care if the pass is along the turf or in the air. Such an important day for Dynamo Dresden. They have to turn around this run of form in 2024. Season started so well for Dynamo. Near perfect start to the campaign. 6 wins out of 7. Things a little more up and down in October. Lost to Essen, and Essen side about to concede 9 in 4. 9 goals in 4 days, that is, not 4 games. Bounce back with a win against Hallischer. Goalless draw with 1860. And 4 straight league wins. Look to set them out in kind of campaign they were hoping for. Finished the year with 3 wins as well. They began to struggle after the turn of the year. A 7-2 victory gave them the opportunity to regain some momentum. Dramatic afternoon's work that was, but they failed to do so. Defeat in the Saxon derby at Au was another bitter blow. And one that maybe had an effect, just 1 point from their next 3. And then followed another win against struggling 1860, but again they returned to not winning ways with a draw against Ulm. Shot there from Niklas Hauptmann on target, not particularly threatening Tim Schreiber. But more like the kind of football the home faithful will want to see. The ever faithful home faithful, stuck by Dresden through this tough period. The loss to Preußen Münster last weekend, particularly damaging. Silver lining is that, unlike their opponents today, their cup run at least continues thanks to a penalty shootout victory over Plauen in the quarters a couple of weeks back, albeit in the Saxon Cup, not the DFB Pokal. This is all too familiar a tale for the Dresden fans. Too similar to last campaign. Started well there as well. 5 from 7 wins. All fell apart before the winter break on that occasion. Only managed 6th in the end. It still remains in their hands. They will be playing fellow members of that top 4 in the final run-in. They just have to keep their heads. This the 14th meeting between these two sides. Fairly evenly balanced in the past. 4 Dresden wins, 3 draws, 6 wins for Saarbrücken. 2 took place in the Bundesliga back in the early 90s. As Kamlecht has to stoop low there. Had that behind for a corner. Handful of meetings in the second tier, but most in the third division here in the Dritte Liga. It was most recently a 1-0 win for Saarbrücken in November in the reverse fixture. Kai Brunker with the game's only goal there. And that is how things have gone recently in this fixture. Dresden haven't won any of the last 6 meetings. This as good a time to rectify that as ever. For now though, defending a corner which took a deflection. Wondered where it was going for a second. Kevin Broll wrong-footed. Manuel Zeitz, the centre-back, the man to get his head to the ball. Fortunately for Broll, deflecting well away from the goal. Zeitz part of a very experienced back 3 for Saarbrücken. The official team sheet, it is a 3-2-2-2. See exactly how they shape up over the course of this first half. Certainly Zeitz joined in defence by Marcel Gauss and Lucas Berder. Zeitz and Gauss well into their 30s, experienced heads, been around the block in German club football. Moment of inexperience, perhaps, there from Gauss, though. Zimmerschied smartly nicking the ball away from the defender, brought down. Saarbrücken also had a strong start to the campaign. They only lost 1 of their first 9 games, where there were a few too many draws. As mentioned, the league's draw specialists, and to really mount a potential promotion push during that run. 5 draws and 3 wins. After a rough patch where they took just 1 point from 4 matches, they returned to that kind of form with another unbeaten run of 7 games. This one featuring 4 wins to finish the calendar year. Stretch that on to 8 in their first game back after the winter break. They only lost twice in 2024. Just those draws keeping them rooted in mid-table. They've proven tough to break down. The defence looking pretty resilient again here. Another moment where clearance was required from the back line. Sontheimer, who will have to be careful now for well over an hour in that central defensive position. One of the worst on the pitch to pick up an early yellow. Berder pushing on. There's a trait of this Rudiger Zeal setup. That defensive 3, not afraid to get forwards. There's space here, just outside the area for Sontheimer. It's found a way through one way or another, but the offside flag up against the distinctive blonde barnet of Kai Brunker. It was Zeitz in the right place at the right time to clear that pullback for Saarbrücken. Arslan picks it up inside the Saarbrücken third. Zimmerschied cuts inside, looks to exchange passes. Meissner was trying to hang on to possession, couldn't do so. Sevilla reluctant to make the clearance. Trying to hang on to possession, but only succeeded in finding Niklas Hauptmann a bit further up the pitch, and it might have been the case. He's into the dangerous corridor of uncertainty there. Arslan was the man coming in. Tim Schreiber able to pounce on the ball in the end. Luca Hermann's nice ball over to Kuchka, who will do that all day long if you give him the space. So good in the air, unselfish as well. Always got his head up. Very close to picking out his number 5 inside the 6-yard box. Park slowly tumbles. And there's a free kick just inside the Saarbrücken half. Dresden growing into the game after a slightly nervy start, starting to assert their authority now. Here comes Zimmerschied again, charging into the box. Stopped in his tracks, but kept alive by Hermann. Again, that raking ball looking for Kuchka. This time, though, Schreiber out to collect. No visible hangover from the cup exit for Saarbrücken just yet. Astonishing cup runs are becoming something of a habit for them. 2020 they became the first 4th-tier team in the history of the DFB Pokal to reach the semi-finals. They beat Fortuna Düsseldorf in the quarter-final on that occasion. This year's semi-final appearance is the 5th in their history. Never made the final. Nonetheless, to have beaten 3 Bundesliga teams, they have a wonderful stat, celebrated more victories against clubs in the top flight than Darmstadt. Of course, Darmstadt rooted to the bottom of the Bundesliga. Just 2 wins for them, 28 attempts, 3 out of 3 for Saarbrücken. Showing that kind of form here. Nice ball forwards from Sontheimer. Looking for Luca Körber. Acknowledges the pass. The thumbs up. Making the most of the 22-year-old whilst they still have him. With Saarbrücken since the age of 14. He will be leaving in the summer. No specifics as yet, but a higher league, as the club announced during the week. He has reportedly been watched by bigger clubs such as Dortmund, Nuremberg, and former Premier League side Southampton, potential future Premier League side as well, battling for promotion again. He's been watched by the likes of them for a while. He will move on after this campaign. Kuchka doing his defensive duties as well. With that aerial ability, the shot from range was from Rizzuto. It was high and wide. A little overcooked, that Rizzuto attempt. Arslan heads it forwards. Meissner. Hauptmann. Early ball into the box again. This one overhit. Whether or not that's been the game plan advised by Marcus Anfang, it's clearly the way the game has been going and the approach that both sides, but particularly Dresden, have been taking in this first half an hour. Lots of early balls into the box, trying to get in behind that Saarbrücken defensive line. Yet to really do so, it's that one knockdown from Kuchka. Time when it really worked. It's a little aimless from Zimmerschied on that occasion. Ville gallops forwards. That unfamiliar position, centre-back. Not totally unfamiliar. Does often drop very deep from his deep-lying midfield role to support his centre-back pairing. Usually part of it himself, though. Heavy collision. Once again, after the ball had gone, and it's a Saarbrücken free kick. Sontheimer leaves it. It will be Tim Surveyor to take. Albanian. Number 23, making his 23rd appearance of the season. Looking for a fourth assist, but not to be this time. Only Wafero getting forwards. Tightly marked and notably out for a goal kick. Dresden been overly threatened since the first few minutes. As we approach the half-hour mark, still awaiting a deadlock to be broken. The dramatic start we've seen to a number of Dresden matches this season. Parked as well to keep that in. Slightly mishit piece of distribution by Kevin Broll. This season, if Dynamo have taken the lead, that is generally that. Done so 17 times and won every single time. Surveyor looks to take the lead for their opposition and does so. The referee's whistled, so perhaps he hasn't. No, he has. Surveyor with a look round. I'm not sure what the referee was heading over for. Luca Herrmann maybe receiving a talking to, maybe involved. Surveyor also receiving a word from the referee, but it looks like this goal is going to stand. That's certainly the reaction of the Saarbrücken players. The Albanian couldn't get assist number 4, but does get goal number 3. Firing into the bottom corner. We'll see it again here. Cut inside. Not sure if it took a deflection. The reverse angle will illuminate us further. Can't see one. It's just too well struck for Kevin Broll to get down quickly enough. And for all Dresden's possession in the first half an hour, they fall behind. And the pain continues for the Dynamo fans. As I was just saying, in terms of them taking the lead and always winning, it is almost always a loss after falling behind. They fall further behind here. Opportunistic effort, maybe seeing Broll slightly off his line there from Luka Kerber. Not close to the targets in the end. Yes, they've failed to turn around a 1-0 deficit many times in this campaign, 6 in a row. And of course, failing to come back from 2 down in the derby. And they could have levelled it up there. Ahmet Arslan. Plenty of space just inside the box, skying his effort. They have to avoid panic setting in here again after falling behind. Tricky technique, trying to catch it as it dropped, coming across his body. And Arslan is one with excellent technique, and he will have expected to have done better with that. And that goal has sparked this game into life. Dresden looking to produce an instant response. A spring in their step now after a slowish start, at least by Dresden standards, to the game. The draw with Essen was the only time recently that Dynamo have come from behind, did so twice, but have returned to type since then. 2 further 1-0 losses. They're doing their best to ensure this doesn't become a third in the last few weeks, but Zimmerschied's sliced effort nowhere near the goal. So much so far that it was actually kept in by Park over on the left wing. They have left the field as losers 11 times after going behind 1-0 this campaign. Not the case in 9 of the last 10, everything bar that Essen draw. Makes a wonder how much the mentality of these players is having an effect. Are they aware of all those statistics? It'll be hard to avoid. They all know the problems they've had after falling behind. They're trying to do something about that now. And that was into a brilliant area from Arslan. Kuchka getting across his man. He couldn't get with the deft touch to deflect it onto the target. Find a way past Tim Schreiber. There was a gap at that near post. Kuchka couldn't find it. Yeah, the chance for Zimmerschied, which was far worse contact for Kuchka and him to go. These are the kind of chances you can't afford to be passing up. And a good spell here, but they need to make the most of it and get back on level terms before the break. Kuchka missed a huge chance in stoppage time against Ulm in the last game. Received plenty of hostility on social media. Sorry to say, even reportedly a death threat in the letter sent to the club. It's not what you want to see. Captain. He's been with Ingolstadt since summer of 2022. He's been a consistent performer, 9 in 36 last campaign, 11 in 30 so far this campaign. Club's top scorer, joined 6th top scorer in the league. One of only 6 players to score a hat-trick. He openly wondered whether the players would become complacent after their strong position over the winter. I don't think there's any question of complacency in recent weeks, though. It's almost the opposite. I think they're getting in their own heads, panicking as this campaign gets away from them, to ensure that this game doesn't get away from them. They were holders of a whopping 10-point cushion to those outside the automatic promotion places at the winter break. 6 defeats from 11 in 2024. Saw them initially slip outside the top 2 for the first time since matchday 3, and now outside the top 3. 11 defeats in all. They still had the most win coming into the weekend in the division, 17 in all. But in mid-table, when it comes to the loss tally, only 7 of their fellow clubs have lost more games than them this season. So many astonishing statistics. This Dresden team in this campaign. They're only 17th in the annual table. Yeah, standing starting on the 1st of January 2024, behind even Duisburg. It's been a real fall from grace. Can they turn the momentum? Both in the match and in this season. That's not going to help Park. Nasty collision with Rizzuto, who stays down. Park seems to have escaped without a yellow. Or perhaps not. Referee calling him back. It's a good idea, the through ball, but overhit, and then a desperate lunge from the South Korean. Or maybe not a lunge, as much as they're coming together. Either way, clearly a painful one for Rizzuto. We'll get back underway with Tim Schreiber to take the free kick from his own area. Falls finds the ball falling just in front of him. Saarbrücken retain possession. They rode the wave with that dangerous Dresden spell, and they now produce some more danger of their own. It's opening up here. Rizzuto, having recovered with space on the right, lays it up for the goal scorer. Tim Surveyor's shot is blocked. He's got it back again, trying to wriggle away from a number of yellow shirts. Ferro getting the ball, in the opinion of the referee, even if it was a tackle from behind, which I think is the point being made to him by Kuchka. Dresden captain not happy. As we head into the final 5 minutes, Saarbrücken in possession, slowing things down, calming things down, which is of course in their interest. Don't want the game getting too stretched. when they're in possession of the lead, heading for the break. %40 of Dresden's home games this league season. We've seen both sides score before half-time. They'll hope to up that percentage with a goal in the remaining 5 minutes. Kuchka's displeasure with that decision, once again, clear to see in full HD this time. Or defiant as ever. Dresden fans hope for a response. They require a bigger response. Sevilla going down just on the edge of the area. No particular appeals from his teammates. Is this going to break for Kuchka? Did he get there first? This time he does get the decision. It'll be a yellow card for Manuel Zeitz. Two experienced campaigners in a race to the ball after that interception, which was in itself a little dangerous. Sliding in Zeitz. And only catching the man and not the ball. And this is certainly within shooting range. Arslan might fancy his chances. Currently 1 of 3. Perhaps now just 1 of 2. Standing over the ball. Zeitz and Herrmann, the two likely candidates. It would appear to be the latter. Or Arslan, rather, not Zeitz, who's the man who gave the free kick away. Will he be punished by Herrmann? Catches the top of the wall. Arslan looks to fire it straight back in. Again, you could say, if being unkind, a little aimless. And that not much better in that regard. So Saarbrücken survive with the lead. And now a free kick as Kuchka comes together with Rudiger Ziel off the pitch. Picks up a yellow card himself. Needs to be careful not to talk himself into anything more. Losing their captain to a second yellow for dissent would not be what's required for that man, Marcus Anfang. He's going to have to produce a hell of a half-time team talk once again. See if he feels the need to change anything at half-time. They have threatened the home side, but just been a little wasteful in front of goal. Despite their troubles. As mentioned, the defiant Dresden crowd continue to flock to the Rudolf Harbig Stadion. Sold out again today. I'll be pleased to see at least long throw dealt with, even if the subsequent clearance ended up back in their own box. They are miles clear at the top of the attendance table with almost 28,000 fans about 10,000 clear of second place. And even the most patient of home crowds may begin to lose patience if this game isn't turned around in the next 45 minutes. There'll be 3 added on at the end of this first half. Maybe time for one more chance before the break for what would be such an important goal in terms of the momentum of this match, if they can find it. Kamenekt over to the right-hand side with Tom Zimmerschied. He whips it in. Early cross again. Kuchka battling in the middle, going down. Saarbrücken are just too strong in the air for these crosses to really produce anything noteworthy for Dynamo. It's knocked down by Kerber for Sevilla again. Need to return the favour. The referee blowing for a Dresden free kick. Not sure exactly what happened to Kamenekt. I think maybe just caught by a stud from the outstretched leg of Tim Sevilla. Nearly broke for Meissner there, dropping just in front of the forward. But as we head into the final 40 seconds, that might be that now for the first half. Saarbrücken goal kick. Given away, not capitalised upon by the away side. Nonetheless, it will surely be they who hold the half-time lead. And there goes the half-time whistle, 1-0 to Saarbrücken. The crisis continues to deepen in Dresden. A month or so ago, Marcus Anfang given a job guarantee after sports director Ralph Becker was removed. Anfang will have to lift his players once again, and they will have to find a way to sort out their comeback issue. 1-0 down, and with it all to do at the halfway point. Welcome back to Saxony for the second half of this Dritte Liga match between Dynamo Dresden and Saarbrücken. I'm afraid it's bad news for the Saxons in the crowd because Dresden are falling behind again. 1-0 down at half-time. It was Tim Surveyor who opened the scoring for Saarbrücken, arguably against the run of play. Dresden hadn't done enough with their possession. And on the half-hour mark, Surveyor with a well-taken goal, cutting inside just a yard of space outside the box and firing it into the bottom corner. And that is what separates the two. With 45 minutes gone, the crisis in Dresden could worsen further still if they fail to turn this one around. And as mentioned in the first half, turnarounds, comebacks are not a speciality of this Dynamo side. But they are coming back, at least, onto the pitch. And applauded by the faithful home fans. Stefan Kuchka, the captain, will have to lead by example. Earned himself a yellow card late in the first half as frustrations began to boil over. He had a pretty big chance. Not as big as the one he missed in stoppage time against Ulm last weekend. But one he would have expected perhaps to do better with. If he scores, he normally do pretty well. They have won their last 2 games in which he scored, and the last 3 on home soil. If he can grab an equaliser, just give Dynamo the faith they require to turn this one around. They've managed 1 draw in the last 10 games in which they fell behind. No wins. And they prevent that moving beyond the 10 mark. The answer will come in the next 45 minutes. We are back underway. Dresden now shooting from right to left in the second half, with it all to do if they are to rescue not just this game, but it's starting to feel like this season. Preußen Münster dropping points as part of that top 4, as it has become in the last few weeks, after beating Dresden themselves. They wouldn't totally lose touch with the others around them. That's with Ulm to play Hallescher late on, and Regensburg already having won. They need to get some points on the board here. Ball into the box for the first time in the second half. It's dealt with by Saarbrücken, as it was so many times in the first half. They'll have to stay patient. They'll have to stick to the game plan, which isn't obviously different from the outside, at least after the half-time break. No changes in personnel from Marcus Anfang. No obvious changes in setup. They worked nonetheless and cleared away, but that was better, more threatening. It's not just early crosses into the box. It's being worked forwards with some intricate passing, which is what was lacking really in the first half for Dresden. Kamenek looks for a defence-splitting pass, but only finds a Saarbrücken player. Now they could use the Ahmet Arslan of last season. It was a quite astonishing loan spell for the 30-year-old. Turned 30 last week. He's on loan this time for the second time. Now from FC Magdeburg Last season it was from Holstein Kiel. During that previous loan, he managed 25 goals in 36 games from a midfielder. So no surprise they wanted him back, but no goals and just the 1 assist so far in his first 8 appearances, about 8.5, including one this afternoon having started. He needs to rediscover his form of last season. Dresden need to rediscover their form from the first half of this season. Plenty of players forward. I see 5 there in the Saarbrücken third. Free kick given away though, and a chance for the visitors to push up the pitch a little, gain some territory. Plenty of options on the bench for Marcus Anfang. Plenty of talent. Dennis Borkowski, Jakob Lemmer, Jonathan Meyer, all regulars in the first team. Lars Brunning as well, if required. For now, the manager sticking with the 11. Chose to start the game. How long will that remain the case? Particularly if it remains as it is. In terms of the scoreline, that is. Saarbrücken looked pretty defensive in this first 5 minutes of the second half. Frustration for Park as ball gets away from him. He looked to the heavens. Roar of frustration, and then hitting himself in the head. Could be worse though from Paul Will. And they're in here, and it's a clinical finish and a nightmare that just keeps worsening for Dresden. Paul Will, the ever reliable defensive midfielder, who was brought into the defensive 2 alongside Jakob Levald, gave the ball away needlessly, a hospital pass. And the chance pounced upon by the opportunistic Simon Stehler, who beat the defender for pace. As Kevin Broll backtracked, he was lifted over the keeper. And Saarbrücken, having offered very little in the first few minutes of this half, just saying they look defensive, are now 2 goals to the good. Marcus Anfang tries to rally the troops. And that will be a bitter one. It will be a hammer blow to the morale of those in the fans, those in the stands, on the pitch. It'll have to be different. They will have to rise above it, keep their chins up, keep their heads up, and look to come down back into this game. They have to avoid panicking. There is still a long way to go, 40 minutes to play. They've struggled, as mentioned, so badly to come back from 1 down. Will it be any different from 2 goals down? Tension simmering. Kuchka involved again. Battling in the middle. And it's all boiling over a bit here. Kuchka, I think, giving away the free kick. Might have to keep it clean for the remainder. Lucas Berder it was. He was clashing with repeatedly there in the area. Berder, who looks absolutely furious with something that's gone on. Didn't see the first incident, saw them battling after. Referee just trying to calm him down. He was apoplectic. Kuchka, the right smile now. Oh, there's the collision. That's what's enraged Berda. So, was it intentional? Was it an accidental coming together of legs? That's one for you to decide at home. Referee didn't see enough for a second yellow card for Kuchka. They have to keep their heads. Dresden, particularly their captain, he can run hot. Has a temper. Sometimes that works to his advantage. He has to ensure that it keeps and stays in check for the remainder of this game, and he doesn't leave his side with a numerical disadvantage. Wafara turning away, battling for the ball, giving away a free kick. Going down a little easily, you'd have to say, after a bit of contact with Tom Zimmerschied. We're getting a little bit tetchy. Slide in from Stahler, and he's stolen it from the Dresden defence again, second time in a few minutes. This one doesn't lead to a goal, though. Well, a panicked clearance. Zeal looking frustrated, despite the lead his side hold. We've spoken so much about Dresden bouncing back from their tough run. Worth mentioning, Saarbrücken bouncing back so commendably from such a tough moment. As their loss in the semi-final about 5 days ago. Had to focus back on the nitty-gritty of day-to-day league football after the magic of the cup was extinguished. There's one giant killing too far. They're killing a relative giant here in Dritte Liga terms. Something of a sleeping giant, though. Dresden have not woken up in 2024. It's looking like potentially becoming 7 defeats in 12 games since the turn of the year. As mentioned before kickoff, Saarbrücken do have a couple of games in hand, and they can hold on to this win and then win their 2 games in hand on Dynamo, it would be just 2 points behind them. A tale of just how far Dresden have fallen. Loss here would leave them below Preußen Münster. They only need a point to move back into third. Of course, third place would offer them a chance still at promotion, even if they weren't able to get back into the top 2. The top 2 could move away. Regensburg already having won on 60 points now. Free kick again goes Saarbrücken's way, to the disbelief of their captain. Stefan Kuchka, and the frustration of the crowd. Yes, Ulm could move on to 59 points if they can win against Hallische later on. Preußen Münster 55, and if Dynamo are to lose here, it will be 54. And suddenly 6 points off the summit, 5 points off the automatic promotion spots. I understand Kuchka's frustration there, I think, and disbelief. In truth, did appear to be an innocent party there. if anything, hauled down. Probably not enough a penalty, but harsh decision on the Dresden forward. Wondered if there would be changes in the offing on the horizon for Marcus Anfang. Remember when I said that, it was if it stayed as it was. Didn't actually consider it could get worse. They'd find themselves 2-0 down so early on. Clearly a response is needed, and the change is imminent. Orville looking to put that mistake behind him, but giving the ball away, at least with a pass in the direction of the opposition goal. But it's the same man. He gave it to Simon Stahler, and it could be a third. It's a brilliant save from Kevin Broll to keep his side in this game, and with some hope of salvaging something from the afternoon. Saarbrücken looking so dangerous on the counter. Lovely weighted ball forwards by Sevilla. Stahler running onto it, playing it inside. Paul Ville's day just keeps getting worse. A slip nearly proving so costly, which allowed it to open up for Lucas Berda. A long way forward. The defender having clashed at the other end of the pitch with Kuchka. Now it drops for another defender, Marcel Gauss, and it's poured away. Another big save, but it is a third. Oh, it's all going so badly. Dynamo cannot catch a break. You can't say it's not self-inflicted, though. They didn't clear their lines, and Saarbrücken are 3-0 up. And finally, the whistles and cheers are beginning to ring out in the stadium that has stood by its team for so long. Sevilla with the corner, partially headed away. Gauss, the lofted effort, which had to be carried away by Broll, but it only found that man again. And Simon Stahler is the villain of the piece in Saxony, from a Dresden perspective at least. He is a hero in Saarbrücken, 2 goals in 15 minutes. And surely now this is a comeback beyond Dynamo Dresden. Jakob Lemmer introduced. Saw him warming up on the sidelines. It's surely now a case of nothing to lose for this Dynamo side. Zimmerschied having switched to the left, battling but coming out second best. Could it get worse still? There's just so much space for Saarbrücken to work with. The yellow shirts do flood back now. It'll be something special if they manage to salvage even a single point now. Still, the fans, albeit with a little less luster than at the start of the game. They sing, they chant, they clap, and they provided with something truly worthy of applause. Benoit Schaffler also coming on. It's Robin Meissner and Park Kyu-Heun who make way for Dresden in a double change. It's all out attack from here on in, I think. No sense of damage limitation from Marcus Anfang. Left back removed along with a forward. 2 attacking-minded players introduced. The number 9, the number 10. Numbers tell you all you need to know. Shake of the head from the important seats. How far will that vote of confidence delivered to that man extend? Marcus Anfang, 49-year-old, spent time with a number of Bundesliga teams during his playing career, including Leverkusen and Schalke. He started out as a youth coach with the former. He has had an eventful career since then. Good spell at Holstein Kiel, followed by a stint with FC Cologne, where he was sacked despite the club sat at the top of the table. And then after a season with Darmstadt, he took the reins at Werder Bremen, but resigned after allegations over forged COVID-19 vaccination certificates before joining Dynamo in the summer of 2022. He's been through the ringer here in Saxony as well. As mentioned, that painful collapse last season. This one is looking like it might be worse later in the season. It's lasting longer, costing them more. And they start to turn around here. Hopeful ball towards Stefan Kuchka. They've had more joy with the balls. They're playing along the ground. And the lofted ones, Saarbrücken are wise to that. They've got 3 centre-backs on the pitch. All happy to deal with anything in the air. Here comes Stahler on a hat-trick. Running the Dresden defence again. I think it might well be set to continue like this for the remaining half an hour. Comfortable for Tim Schreiber. Dives on the ball. Saarbrücken will just look to slow the game down wherever possible. It's not a narrow lead they have to protect, but it is a valuable one. Zeal said that it would be an emotional game after the painful exit from the cup. He addressed the class of the Dynamo side. Results weren't right recently, but the performance was always okay. And they will try their best to play in front of their home crowd. The performance, in truth, hasn't been okay today. And that is why they are 3-0 down as we approach the 3-quarter mark of the game. Ball into the box. Once again, only finds a defender. They will have a corner though this time. Manuel Zeitz putting it behind. Arslan to take. Headed away by Zeitz, this time away from goal. It will come back to Arslan nonetheless. Now's the delivery this time, it's good, and they do get one back. And it is the substitute who has the all-important involvement soon after coming on. Manuel Schaffler with his 3rd of the season. Can it spark something? Nearly cleared off the line, but the number 9 doing what number 9s do and heading home, finding some space in the area. The response is a double change from the visitors. Stahler won't get his hat-trick. It is both goal scorers who exit stage left. Stahler and Sevilla head off Fresh legs brought on to help defend this lead. There will be a few more nerves creeping in now. There is still the best part of half an hour to go, including additional time. Dresden have nothing to lose. And look at the change in the atmosphere and in the approach of the players immediately, where they looked flat-footed at times. Julius Biada, the men to come on. Just his 15th appearance. Will it be one to remember? Punched away by Tim Schreiber. Into the danger area again, and turned, surely, no! Somehow missed by everyone, including the goal scorer. And Zimmerschied throws his head into his hands. Hauptmann delivered it to the back stick. It dropped for Kamenex. It's the attempted flick from Schaffler, which didn't come off, and maybe just took it away. Deflection catching out Zimmerschied. But suddenly they look up for it again, Dresden. I have to say, they are a defiant bunch. Whatever you may think of the mentality in the team, the way things are going, the heads rarely drop. Frustration might creep in. They never stop playing. Jakob Lemmer can't keep that one in. Five goals, 6 assists in total for Lemmer. That's a good option to bring on. Good option to have on the bench. We're missing another of their super subs, Lucas Goeto. Something of a go-to. Scored the winner against 1860 last month off the bench. He's out injured. They have to ensure they don't fall 3 behind again, and they might do. It's a big block. Important from Luca Herrmann. Looked like it was just going to sit up. Nearly another instant impact from a substitute. Trailing leg. Just catching the boot, and it had to. That was flying towards the bottom corner otherwise. The whistles ring out as Saarbrücken take their time over the corner. Into the final 20. Hooked away by Herrmann again. Calmly done by Marcel Gauss. Gazelle. Also a former midfielder, like the man in the opposite dugout. For Kaiserslautern in the Bundesliga, so knocked out in the cup by his former club. Painful irony to that semi-final exit. Once he turned to coaching, spent 8 years with Wolfsburg 2, 4 as assistant, 4 as head coach. And then after a spell with TSV Havelza, was named initially interim and then permanent manager of Saarbrücken in 2022. And what a time he's had. Already written himself into the history books with that cup run this year. If they can hold on for a famous win here, use it as a springboard for an unlikely push for promotion, he will further etch his name into Saarbrücken folklore. Ahmed Arslan hands himself a yellow card. That's a double change in the offing for Dresden. Marcus Anfang will hope it will have the similar effect to his first one. There's still time. Big cries from the crowd, and referee goes to his pocket again. Bonnie Wafero, the latest to enter the book. Yellow cards starting to tally up now between the two sides. Wafero, Mozambique. Be careful in the 20 minutes that remain now, as well a number of the players, but I don't think any of them are thinking like that. It is focus surely on those two numbers in the top corner of the stadium there. Dresden could do with increasing the first one by at least a couple more. This time doesn't cause any trouble in his own defensive line. Showing the kind of composure you'd expect from him. Arslan. Another of those trademark deliveries in from the right. It's just over the head of Stefan Kuchka. Now, pause as two more fresh faces are introduced for the final 15 for the home side. We had the number 9 and number 10. It is now the number 7 and number 8. Heading on. Jonathan Meyer there, along with Nagiotis, Lachodimos. Zimashid, one to make way. Paul Ville, the other. Tough game for the makeshift centre-back. Another sign of clear attacking intent from Marcus Anfang. Saarbrücken are sitting deeper and inviting pressure. No need for as many defenders on the pitch anymore. Stage is set for the final 15. I think we will fall into this holding pattern of Saarbrücken defending deep, defending hard, looking to maybe catch Dresden out on the break. Dresden having to find a way past a low block. About 10 black and blue shirts. Will they be left black and blue? Bloodied and bruised at the end of another tough afternoon of Dritte football. Branca trying to bring it down, but slips. Dominic thus with time to pick his pass. Frustration from the goal scorer there. Played it just too far ahead. Jakob Lemmer. One change left to make for that man. Unlikely to be Eric Herrmann there, watching on. Substitute keeper. Gorkowski would be the likely candidate. We'll see though. For now, they have to focus on defending. And there is space to exploit now for Saarbrücken when they do get towards the Dresden third. fresh legs are able to get back. The energy they have left in the tank. Jonathan Meyer presumably slotting into an effective left-back slot. Well, that was just fading away after the glancing header from Kuchka, but not enough. Another nice ball in. Arslan showing the quality he has. It's quite a Beckham-esque delivery from the right. Ahmet Arslan. It's a very distinctive style. Referee letting it be known he is making note of this time. It will be added on at the end. Saarbrücken have 2 players down. I think this is just a case of playing for time. Kai Brunker does get back to his feet. I think it will bring about at least one change, whether it is one of the players who are on the turf. 2 are warming up, or have warmed up and are ready to make their way on. And here is the final change. Off comes Nicholas Hauptmann. I think that was Denis Borkowski. Indeed it was. Final throw of the dice from Marcus Anfang. Will he roll double 6 and somehow snatch something from this game? One of the last times we'll see Denis Borkowski in Dresden gold. On loan from RB Leipzig, as he was last year, but reportedly returning to his parent club in the summer. Dresden not taking up the option. Calogero Rizzuto makes way for Saarbrücken. Unsurprisingly, not to have entered the book, despite the high number of yellow cards handed out. He is a likely candidate. 10 yellows and 3 reds this season, the most in the league for the 32-year-old right back. Also 2 goals and 4 assists, having picked up one of each in the 2-0 win against his former club Auer. Also got the assist for the only goal in the reverse fixture of this game. Plenty more than just the 1 goal this afternoon. Dynamo could do with a few more. We've got 10 minutes to find them. I get a feeling there will be more than 4 goals come the final whistle, one way or another. Dynamo exposed at the back when they are throwing everything into attack. And Saarbrücken have shown how dangerous they are on the counter. Large part of that was, though, Simon Stehler, who has made his way to the bench to watch on the final 10. Jakob Lemmer loses out. Julian Günther Schmidt, another of the substitutes, winning the ball. Four forwards here, not all sitting back. Cut back. They're queuing up here, and it's wide of the target in the end. Luka Kerber, the space to get the shot away, not the accuracy to make the most of that space. To Schaffler. Just a few errors creeping in now from Dynamo. The head of steam they built up is dissipating slightly. They will dominate possession for the remaining 10 minutes. The zip has just gone out of the play a little. And to try and change that, here's Borkowski. His first involvement just strolled through a number of Saarbrücken players all the way to the edge of the box. Laid it off for Schaffler. Shot deflected. off Wafero. Here, Dresden corner. Seven waiting in the box. Just outside. It's straight out. I'm going to say straight to Tim Schreiber. For that, it was straight out of play, not Arslan's best. Looks a little tired now, the midfielder. Been on, of course, since the first whistle, and it is pretty toasty. 27 degrees. The sun is out. Summer on the horizon. Are there brighter times ahead for Dresden? One could only assume so. How long can it continue like this? Described it as a top four before the start of this game. And things stay as they are. Become a top five, dragging Sandhausen into the mix. If Preußen Münster and Dynamo both lose, Sandhausen's win leaves them just 3 points off third place. Essen and Saarbrücken, both with games to spare, could get involved as well. Suddenly promotion, which looks like a sure thing for Regensburg and Dresden for so long. It'll be a battle for best of the rest for the playoff spot. He's looking wide open. Ulm in pole position. Their game to play this evening. Nonetheless, not many points. Certainly with hypothetical wins for those with games in hand, covering 2nd to 7th or 8th. Marcus Anfang has looked remarkably cool for much of this frustrating afternoon. It is starting to tell, though. Another resigned shake of the head. Higher up in the stands. Off comes Marcel Gauss. Saarbrücken. Job done for him. He leaves the pitch with his side 2 goals to the good. Dangerous at both ends of the pitch. Gauss. Certainly not dangerous at his own end, but efficient on both ends of the pitch. Nice 1-2. Stopped in his tracks there, though, by Jakob Lewald. I think the Dresden fans want something to happen more quickly there, but it's now over on the left. Shot from range was well held by Tim Schreiber. It was one of the substitutes, Lachodimus, trying his luck. Another Fabio Micheli Sanchez, who's come on in the place of Gauss. A 21-year-old defender. Fresh legs to help defend the lead in the final minutes. I think the belief that might have been instilled in Dresden by that first goal from Schaffler is fading away now. He's still not rushing, still not just launching it into the box. And that is starting to frustrate those in the stands. I know it needs to happen more quickly than this. They're not 1 goal away from a result, they're 2 away from a draw at best. Lifted in by Hermann. Kuchka knocking it on. Not able to find his now strike partner. And here comes the potential danger of the Saarbrücken counter again. It's 4-on-4. Trying to create the space. On the edge of the area, Kuchka coming deep. Commendably. And bombing forwards after laying it off to Lemmer. He's blocked off. Stays alive. On the far side with Vlachodimos. He'll run at his man again. Doesn't get the corner. And it's cleared away instead by Saarbrücken. Well, ball handed to Arslan. The delivery not good enough, as has been the case far too many times over the last couple of hours. And Saarbrücken now not looking to counter. They'll slow things down, hold on to the ball, kill a few seconds as they get closer to the 90-minute mark. It should be job done, barring anything truly extraordinary in the few minutes that we will have added on here. Sent long by Kevin Broll. Unintentional knockback from Bolkowski to Vlachodimos. Wants to go to his left again. He's two-footed. I think fans and players alike were expecting a corner there. Certainly Tim Schreiber felt the need to try and keep the ball in. Decision is a goal kick, and it will take us past the 90-minute mark. There will be 6 minutes for Dynamo to do the impossible. I've seen it all around these parts. Certainly, those who've been coming to the Rudolf Harbig Stadion for many decades. This is a low point. A tough one to take at the end of a tough run. What looked like a surefire thing. A return to the second tier is starting to look slimmer and slimmer now. Relegated the season before last. Originally looking for an instant return to the second tier, something they managed in 2021. They didn't manage it last year. Starting to wonder if they will now. Club that's been yo-yoing between the second and third divisions for a couple of decades now. Former giant of Eastern German football. Ball into the box for the umpteenth time this afternoon. Is over the head of the intended recipient. Schaffler unable to grab another back. And with 2 of the 6 minutes gone, Saarbrücken are pretty much there, and you can sense that from the response in the crowd. The excitement has fizzled out. Still a few defiant fans sing on, but more of the noise is coming from the overjoyed Saarbrücken fans. You can forget all about their painful semi-final exit in the cup And focus now on this huge win in the context of the league. Maybe dream. Of, if not a return to the second tier, maybe a trip into the DFB Pokal again next year, if they can get themselves up to fourth, or still in their regional cup, and with a chance of doing so via that as well. It was, of course, their fifth place finish last campaign that saw them into this year's cup. And will still have been bittersweet, though, having finished just a single point off both VNB's Baden in fourth spot, who were subsequently promoted via the playoffs, and Osnabrück in third, who were automatically promoted after Freiburg 2 finished in second. Particularly painful too is only an astonishing turnaround from Osnabrück in the final minutes of the final game denied them. 1-0 down to Dortmund 2 as the clock hit the 90-minute mark. They scored in the 94th and 96th minute to mean that Saarbrücken's own 2-1 win counted for nothing. As the Dresden fans head for the exit, they too will remember that day. They finished level with Saarbrücken, exactly on points, but with worse goal difference. That was a painful day. This is another into the final 2 minutes. And there's no longer time, surely, for any late heroics. At best, a consolation. Launched forwards by Kevin Brawl. Hopefully, Kuchka sending it on, but the opposite captain, Manuel Seitz, hoops it away as he's done many times this afternoon. The 33-year-old was a member of the Saarbrücken Youth Academy between 2004-2008. Spent the first 3 years of his senior career with the club. Moved on to a couple of others. A chance of a consolation there. Disappears with the referee's whistle. Seitz loaned back to Saarbrücken in 2014 for returning home, if you will, permanently in 2016. Now well over 300 league appearances in total across those various spells. And this will be one of the biggest weeks in all those years in Saarbrücken. The semi-final didn't go their way, but in the league, they further inflict pain upon a Dynamo Dresden side which surely can take little more pain. A 7th defeat in 2024. The silence falls around the stadium in disbelief. Dresden remain fourth in the standings. Saarbrücken will move up and can dream of moving up further. 8th for now. It could get better still with their games in hand. They're on the up. Dynamo continue to fall down. Can they do anything about it? Or is it just going to get worse and worse still? Marcus Anfang is the man who will have to do something. Find a way to inspire these players, because at the end of the day, it's another loss for Dynamo Dresden in 2024. 3-1, the final score in favour of the visitors, Saarbrücken.